It's a good day to be alive, I know that. And healthy and well. I hope you all out here staying safe and stuff like that. But yeah, man. There's a whole lot of stuff I in a sense question certain stuff like just school, all this different stuff, places and stuff going bankrupt. Before you know it, everything is going to be shut down. We're going to be right back at like phase one. I know people talk about they're suing the governors and certain stuff of states, talk about their business and stuff have to be open. The thing about it is the PPE money and certain stuff like that, the government can keep on printing money. That's the thing about it, but they're not going to do that. And then I know a whole lot of people are talking about there needs to be a stipend that the government is going to give the people, available Americans and certain stuff like that. I mean, that right there is, I feel like that's a good thing. There's only a few places that I know that actually give a stipend to people in certain, this Alaska. They got the oil reserves and certain stuff out there. They're just drilling stuff, and the people, they get like $20,000. That's on a good year. I really don't focus on the money aspect, stuff like that, but people talking about all the socialism stuff. I don't really disagree with people getting money, stuff like that. What I disagree with is, people just not using common sense or certain stuff like that. I feel like, in a sense, I would rather have the government say that they messed up with this whole coronavirus response, and for them not to sit up here and be like, oh yeah, we tried doing this, we tried doing that. I just think it's a horrible excuse, honestly speaking. And then at the same time, and token of things, in retrospect, I definitely feel like, in a sense, you shouldn't be able to, I don't even know, to a certain extent, there's a lot of stuff that I just don't, agree with. It'd be like the most random things that be happening, and then for life of me, I can't understand why it happens the way it happens. What I mean by that is just people getting too comfortable with certain stuff, getting in your personal space, or homeless people. I don't have an issue with homeless people, but what I do have a problem with is just certain stuff. Homeless people, sometimes they got issues, mental issues, certain stuff like that, or substance abuse, or just other stuff going on. But a lot of stuff is kind of, then again, it's choices. Like, some people, they could get help, but they don't choose to get help. Like, if someone has a drug addiction, maybe they had like a bad job or something like that, and they're doing drugs, they're doing all this type of stuff, they're doing that, junk. By no means do I think that's kind of acceptable. I'm just being honest. Yeah, I'm just being honest. Because, if you think about it, for every drunk or high that somebody winds up getting or something like that, it may have started with they might have had a job or something like that. They were introduced to drugs. Nobody woke up and decided they want to have, crack pipe or something like that, or be on crack. But there was somebody that woke up today trying to get the next fix or something. I someone said that it's not funny, but the premise is, bruh, people ain't setting the responsibility of their actions and certain stuff like that. And then at the same time, a token, you got people out here just bugging out, doing all sorts of type of stuff. Then another thing too, I don't feel like people understand. I'm not what you call it, with in regards to certain thing, I don't expect anybody to do anything for me, and I really don't. And what that means, people could be coming up to you. People coming up to you at a gas station or something, can you put $10 in my tank? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Or something like that, like, you know, or they got like, how can I say, or the dumbest thing I think I've seen someone do is like have a female or something like that and tell them to change the car tire, or heard about that. That's about the dumbest thing I feel like you can do. Why would a woman need to go and change a tire? You looking at her like, bro, some of these dudes out here is really some bombs, but you know, it's females who deal with certain stuff. But yeah, you see I'm doing pretty good today. I haven't played Fortnite in a while, so y'all kind of getting like a stream. But yeah, man, I be thinking about certain stuff. Like a lot of people, they don't be questioning certain stuff like that. And I feel like I have a skill or something like. I'm not saying I'm trying to be deep. A lot of people try to like, you know, what's the stuff I be speaking on and stuff like that. You know, I just think a lot of stuff is just stupid. If you really think about it. Like, I don't expect anybody. Well, I mean anybody to do anything for me. I really mean that. Yeah, man. It is what it is, in my opinion. And then, like, today, I was like at the and this guy, what you call it, he saw my dad and me out. This guy had no money. He didn't even, to be honest, he didn't even have two necklaces to rub together, even if he wanted to. That's not funny. But at the same time, like, you know, I just don't expect anybody, well, I mean anybody to do anything for me. I know they keep on adding bots and certain stuff to the game. Am I cool with the bots in the game? It just depends, bro, but yeah. Or, for instance, I know people think I'm, what you call it, a quiet or reserved person. I know some people think I'm kind of weird, but I really don't care. Because it really don't matter. I don't even be doing anything weird. I just stay to myself. That's, to me, that's just not weird. Because a lot of popular people be doing weird stuff, but people ain't gonna talk about that. But what I mean by that is like, you know, people, especially on campus, bro, people be doing just certain stuff, and I really don't get involved in that type of stuff, like trying to be known or popular on campus. Or even like, you know, people want to nickname you certain stuff like Money Man, or, you know, just certain stuff like that. I don't talk about money. Money's a concept to me. I feel like you can have a lot of money, but then again, if you're not managing money, that's a different story. Well, we got the wrong group of individuals around you and certain stuff like that. That there becomes a problem. Like at the end of the day, like me, I never try to really bend anything or, you know, do anything, because a lot of stuff I really question the validity for one of certain stuff like that. And even I take a lot of stuff, you gotta take a lot of stuff what people say at face value. Like, you know, people talking about rapists and certain stuff like that. I don't think rape is acceptable and stuff like that. But there's people who have allegations and stuff against them about rape or, you know, various different other stuff, and then people will still be supporting them. And what I mean by that is like, what you call it, like, you know, if a party group or certain stuff like that, you know, there was like a rapist exposed page, and there was somebody out there with the group, whatever that was up there, and I was just like, you know, it's not surprising, but at the same time, you know, let it be like popular. I don't really, like I said, I feel like I've always had like a term. I'm not trying to get cupcake points from people. I'm just not. Do I think that's weird? Like, I'm not trying to, like, certain stuff is just not funny to me. I got a sense of humor, and I admit, you know, some people might not think stuff is funny, but I have my own sense of humor. Like, you know, if someone says something stupid in class or something like that, I'm not going to laugh at that. If it's not funny, I'm not going to laugh. But I feel like, you know, once you get around 2 or 3 people or they're in a class or something like that, you know, people be laughing at stuff that's not funny. Just minimalistic funny. Like the other day, let me give you an example for it. Yeah, my teacher's having a problem with the what you call it thing with what is it, smartboard? There we go. And the projector and stuff like that. And the person talking about, can class be canceled? He asked that like 5 different times. And then the person, like my professor, was like, if you don't start saying that, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Because I mean, it's just not funny. It's just disruptive. But at the same time, this professor, I mean, I'm neutral about this professor. I mean, this lesson style and this planning is kind of bland, and I don't really like when people try to make certain stuff really. I know a certain topic, you know, you have to be on it and certain stuff like that. But like, you go all tangent and stuff about, you know, this and that. I'm not doubting that the person knows the material, but the covering of the material is lackluster. What I mean by that, every professor has their own style. They have their own type of thing. You know, if you took them for a particular course of what you've heard. If someone thinks I'm bad at the game, I'm not. I just don't play this game like that. You see I'm not bad at the game, but yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff I just typically don't agree with about certain stuff. And I really don't get into certain stuff. Like, it's just not in me or not in my interest in certain stuff to really get involved with stuff. Because the more I start to think about it, the more I just start to really, I question a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of people don't like that. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, people talk about a degree as a piece of paper. In a certain aspect, it is, but I feel like, you know, certain stuff happens or something like that. Like, somebody could have a PhD in educational leadership, but I'm the type of person to question the leadership in the first place. Like, the morale is low. I feel like the credentials and certain stuff like that are nepotism or cronyism, for example, are running rampant in a particular community or organization, stuff like that. And you have to, like, you know, certain people, they want you to provide examples that are on hand, or when you know, the proof is already in the pudding, it's already evident and stuff like that. You know, you got hires, you know, you're bringing in your cronies and certain stuff like that. And even with school administrations and certain stuff like that, it's full of crap. It's just full of crap. And the only thing I don't like about like school is the administrators and the way they handle certain stuff. And it's like, you know, like the dumbest thing I think that's ever happened at all in a certain instance, it's like, what you call it, yeah. Let me explain to you. Like, someone, what you call it, this when I was like in high school, like freshman year. Like, yeah. There was this girl, I think she threw like a stainless steel cup at someone's head, and she got mad that she got charged with assault and had to go to court for it. Like, how dumb can you be? You threw a stainless steel like Yeti cup at someone's head. You could have gave them concussion, you could have killed them. Like, people just stupid. That junk is like at least 6 pounds. And your head is not that big, and then at the same time, that's just a whole lot of stuff, bro. And for what it's worth, I think that people are just not thinking and certain stuff like that. I feel like that's weird. Or then another instance, I'ma say, it's like what you call it too. What is it? Yeah, like someone, what you call it, bought a taser on Amazon, and they was going around tasing people, and then they got an assault charge. I would say they was lucky that they even got charged, and they did like there was a juvenile, kind of as a juvenile offense. So the person really could have got charged as an adult, and what they did was stupid. And they got community service. Tell the truth, they should have spent like at least a couple days in jail. To be honest. This was their first offense, but at the same time, you know, they did to multiple people and had multiple victims. Like, and then it was crazy. After that, the officer and stuff took the taser. They took the taser. Yeah, y'all think I'm trash or something like that. I'm not. Or yeah, certain stuff like that too. And another thing I really don't like too, I'm not, like I said, I don't really care about being popular, being relevant. I've never been the type of person to really care or base my whole sense of self-worth about this and that. A lot of people who know me personally, I'm a pretty solid dude, you know, pretty smart. Like, you know, I question certain stuff, you know, I can answer a lot of topics about certain stuff. Ah, damn. Or just certain stuff like, and I feel like a lot of stuff it comes across like what you call, somebody might say I'll come across as somewhat as something ridiculous, or what I mean by something ridiculous, trying to be too goody two shoes. I'm not goody two shoes. That's just to me, a lot of stuff, it really has nothing to do with you. It just has to do with projection. What I mean by a projection is just like whatever somebody thinks, or someone thinks that you're a square. Like, no, you're not a square. The problem is just what you think is to be getting good with people. And I've seen people try to get good with people for a long time, and it just backfires. I'm not a type of person. I don't bother nobody. I don't do anything. There's no type of controversy about me. There's no type of anything about me at all. But I feel like a lot of stuff, you know, it gets lost in translation about certain stuff like that. But that's another story for another day. You know, at the end of the day, what can you do? You know, I don't try to do anything. Like, if anybody know me personally, I don't try to do anything. Like, I know someone's talking to me or just basically saying what I think about dating nowadays and certain stuff like that. I said, what you call it, from a standpoint, I feel like, you know, a lot of stuff, it's gotten to a point where I feel like a lot of stuff, it can be respectful and certain stuff like that. I'm not a dude that's, you know, going to do a female wrong or anything like that, or, you know, do anything crazy or anything like that. I understand a lot of stuff. People don't think that I understand the concept of stuff too. Like, you know, people might be talking about, you know, what is consent. Consent is a lot more than what people think it is and certain stuff like that. But if someone consents to an activity, I know I got kids and stuff watching, so I keep it clean and certain stuff, like, for obvious reasons. But yeah, talk about to their kids about certain stuff, and I mean, that's just, even colleges and certain stuff like that, they try to give people pointers on stuff about, you know, sexual assault and this and that, or what classifies as sexual assault and certain stuff like that. Sexual assault is exactly what it is, a sexual assault. If people don't know the difference between sexual assault or sexual battery, it's a whole lot of other stuff too. Sexual battery is any unwanted touching or certain stuff like that. Like, you know, touching leading up to other stuff, and then sexual misconduct. You know, a lot of, especially schools and certain stuff like that. With Title IX, Title IX is more than just what you call it, sexual assault. It's basically a whole thing. It's like equal protection for males and females, especially with regards to sports and certain stuff like that. Like for baseball, there has to be softball at schools and certain stuff like that. It's just a whole lot more stuff to it than, you know, what people know. And, you know, I don't think that a lot of schools and certain stuff are really doing exactly what they need to be doing when it comes to down to it in terms of like sexual assault and certain stuff like that. Because if you think about it, there's some parties, fraternity parties, and there's all sorts of funny business going on. I'm not mad about people doing certain stuff. I mean, we're all adults here. But at the same time, when there's allegations and stuff going on campus and certain stuff like that, and nobody is going to really say, I'm not going to say anything, because schools can't say anything about an ongoing case. A lot of people don't know that. But it's the dumbest thing, the stuff does go in people's record. They don't get off. Like if there's an investigation, they found somebody guilty of sexual assault, obviously that's going to be in their record. Just like someone has a criminal record, it can be criminal, it can go to criminal, but it can go into the actual school record. So if they try to go to like a grad school or something like that, or they get a transcript for a job application that's up there. So I feel like that's something that people need to know. But at the same time, I feel like in a sense, you know, you can never really judge certain stuff for, you know, it's not representative. Like, you know, nobody deserves to get raped or something like that. Just because a female or something has a skimpy dress on does not mean she deserves to be raped at all or anything like that. Or just because she chose to go to a party or something like that. Now, the problem I got with parties, in a sense, is because, you know, the activity and the conduct going on. Now, we're adults here, but at the same time, you know that there's predators and certain stuff like that, or predatory behavior, excuse me. Nobody's talking about that, and I feel like that's the issue that I got with a lot of stuff, is that, you know, instead of saying something, people are just too scared to say it. And such like in terms of fraternity parties and certain stuff like that. You won't see me going to anything that's controversial or anything like that. Just not a fan of that. I feel like a lot of stuff people just need to go ahead and nip in the butt. Like, people know you by the fruit of your labor. So whatever it is you putting out there is what people know you by. People just know that you, what you call, like, if someone knows that, you know, you're a drug addict or something like that, and they know that about you, and they know your behavior and certain stuff has been, you know, it's been consistent, you know, that's what people know you by. There's nothing that you can do or say or do about that. And at that moment, it is what it is, you know. I don't ever try to bend the truth. I don't ever try to bend anything. I don't never try to do this. I don't never try to do that. But the one thing I do know is just certain stuff. It's just not my job to, you know, put points out there to people who really just, I don't know, they're just trying to go along with something for the sake of of not really even asking key and critical questions, or just even putting stuff out there, challenging like a particular belief or something like that. There's a whole lot of stuff that I just don't agree with, and it is part of certain stuff. It has nothing to do with a religious context. I just think a lot of stuff is just weird. And instead of people just saying that, oh, okay, this just seems kind of weird, like, you know. And then the parties and certain of the people have, they want females wear skimpy dresses and want them to do all this type of stuff. Like I said, a woman does not deserve to be judged for what you call wearing a skimpy dress or something like, or, you know, or some people trying to be rape apologists and certain stuff like that. That's not acceptable. That's just not acceptable by any means and stuff like that. And someone might be surprised why I'm speaking so strongly about certain stuff. I can show you that, you know, I'm a well-rounded individual. But then again, a lot of people won't know that about me, that I'm just not going to be conforming to, I guess, what other people out here doing. And it could be a lot of stuff. Politics, I really just don't. In my honest opinion, you really don't have a choice with a lot of stuff. Like, people talk about all this stuff about politics. Me, do I get involved in politics? No. I just don't. I vote. Like I said, I vote, but I just feel like there's a whole lot of stuff that I feel like you should vote to your values and your beliefs and certain stuff like that. But all this kind of stuff, I just kind of question it. It's just kind of a little bit faulty in nature, in my honest opinion. From, you know, I feel like the major political parties, and even all of them, really, if you be honest, you kind of have no choice. And what I mean by you have no choice is that I question stuff from a typical standpoint. Politics and everything is all about communities greater served and stuff that's largely underrepresented or misrepresented, that goes unheard about and certain stuff like that. And we try to reach out to that. That's why people don't trust, or people don't trust their vote and stuff like that. It's because, you know, they've been marginalized to a point where they don't feel confident. You know, and a lot of false promises and stuff. And that's from both parties, both major political parties. Certain stuff like that. Someone might say I'm a socialist. In a certain sense, I am. I'm very kind of socialist type person. I care about people enough, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of stuff comes down to personal, like, you know, people's personal choices and what they're out here doing. A lot of stuff I just don't condone, you know. And a lot of stuff too, I feel like it's just foul. Like, you know, you're out here doing something, and in a sense, you gotta live with the consequences, or, you know, unintended consequences for what you did. You know, it is what it is. I don't try to bend certain stuff. I don't try to make it, like, you know, exceptions. I don't really try to do any of that. You know, a lot of stuff, it's just sad. In my honest opinion, a lot of stuff is just sad. In a sense, you know, there's nothing that, you know, people can do. And what I mean by a lot of stuff being is just kind of sad. And what I mean it's really kind of sad, it is sad. But yeah, bro, there's just a lot of stuff I don't agree with. And then somebody, like, to me, I never tried to be a popular person. And that's just me. A lot of people know I'm a funny person, but I just stay to myself. And a lot of that has to deal with, like, I guess my childhood in a sense. But besides the point, a lot of just stuff just showed me that, in a sense, you know. And, like, you know, people will talk about, you know, you have to be careful around the crowds that you attract, and then who you actually trying to get in good with. I mean, certain stuff to me, I just don't care. Like, certain stuff to me is just not funny. At the end of the day, you know, I'm an adult. And certain stuff just doesn't change. Like, you know, corny jokes and certain stuff like that. It's just not funny. Like, it's just not. But, yeah, like, so I'm talking about, just certain stuff too. From a standpoint, in my honest opinion, a lot of stuff could it be, I don't try to sway, opinion or certain stuff like that, but I just bring to light, a particular, I won't say an outcome, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff that, if you think about on average, a lot of stuff goes over people's head. Or then a lot of stuff that comes out is trying to sway people's public opinion about something. And it's not, anything bad. Wow. They actually had stuff in there, but yeah, too. And then there's another thing too. People talking about drinks and alcohol. The thing about me, in terms of you talking about drinks and alcohol, alcohol and certain stuff like that, people talking about campus and stuff being dry. Obviously, the campus and stuff has to be dry. They already know what type of activity and stuff is happening. Alcohol and stuff that can cause disease and certain stuff. We know that. But that's only when people, overstep boundaries and certain stuff like that with, lifestyle. A lot of people, there's a lot of lifestyle adjustments you can make, they're just not going to do it. And I feel like that's where the problem comes in too with doctors. I know my sister's in med school currently. My sister says she's not going to work with adults because adults, the lifestyle adjustments that they need to make, but they're just not going to do them. Lifestyle changes like workout, cut back on alcohol, certain stuff like that. Like someone has fatty liver or cirrhosis and certain stuff like that. They're acute alcohol poisoning, maybe they're going through a tough time or something like that. They don't believe in the, like going to get some alcohol intervention, like joining AA or something like that. That's not really your battle to do. There has to be a conscious effort that somebody actually wants to make and really has the means to really want to go ahead and get that done. There's nothing else that anybody can do for them. They have to want that for themselves. And it's like sometimes, sometimes people, it's their own demise, A lot of people want to be like, oh, why does this have to happen like that? Or why is this? Like, it really has nothing to do in the grand scheme of things or what, somebody tries to make it. It's just a conscious effort that you have to make or the person has to make for them in a sense if it has to get to that point, whether or not, they need to go and get some type of intervention or help or something like that. Because, I went to class with someone, they was out there or something like that to that effect. They went to a party and they admitted that it was them. They had been talked about on the campus at my school. They had alcohol poisoning, so they had to go to the hospital, and they still went back and then drank an excessive amount of alcohol. Like, I feel like a semester later, people know you by what you out here doing, and I feel like once you get to that point, that's really on you. I feel like people talk about, a judgment-free zone. A lot of the stuff, in a certain extent, should it be judgment-free? We could talk about it, but at the same time, I really just don't understand, logic and rationale behind a lot of stuff people out here doing. People say, I have to realize a lot of stuff's not what, people make it. It's about what they try to make stuff into. Like, you can have public discourse about something and still be respectful. And I feel like a lot of stuff like that It really got to the point where, you know, you're not even allowed to have an opinion. And it's not about what you think I'm talking about. A lot of people will talk about, you know, people having platforms or access to certain stuff like that. Or communities that are marginalized or certain stuff like that. Like, you know, there's certain stuff too. I mean, you can have a disagreement with something and, you know, be respectful. But sometimes I don't feel like that's the case. A lot of stuff is not even commonplace anymore. The pump looks entirely different. Still sounds the same a little bit, but the model of it just looks different. But I definitely feel like, bro, there's a lot of stuff too. Like, I know people want to know my thoughts of dating. Like, if I ever date a girl or something like that, no, I'm not going to treat her like crap. I feel like a woman should be appreciated. Certain stuff like that, she should be respected, well treated, and certain stuff like that. Stuff like that, you know, I'm not gonna treat a woman like dirt. I was never, you know, brought up like treating women like dirt. What? They took her out the game, bro. Whatever that green goblin sugar nasty is, they took out the game. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I just disagree with in the grand scheme of things because of what I done seen and what I done heard. And certain stuff like that. I would never treat a female or anything bad or anything like that, but or just certain stuff like that, or just in a sense, let's think about something too. People asking why I'm so hard on parties and certain stuff like that. And it's not even that I'm even really hard on. Everybody goes to a party for a different reason, but at the same time, I feel like it's just the element of people that you're around. You know, there could be really great people at the party, but there's certain stuff, people trying to meet people, or people trying to be mixy. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you think about it. Like I said, we're all adults, you know, we all, what you call it, do different things, certain stuff like that. We're all going about certain stuff in a certain manner. We're all doing this, we're all doing that, yada, yada, yada. Going from there, like, you know, so forth, and this and that, and you know, but at the same time, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that just goes on. And schools really have no control over certain stuff, like, you know, let me say something too. Like, there was a particular thing I know at my sister's school. Because, like, you know, another thing is colleges and stuff really be too open up to anybody. Well, I mean, anybody can come to, like, a big school or something like that. My sister went to Howard. But, yeah, they had this guy, he was, like, what you call it? He would just, he wasn't even a Howard student. He was just a random man that come into, like, he'll go into labs or, you know, science building and he will expose himself to females and touch himself in front of females. It's not cool. That you want to talk about weird? That's weird. And he wanted to get caught. Like he might do it in front of a female or something like that for a particular time. Almost get caught, but it could never get him. That's disturbing. That's just disturbing. And I feel like a lot of stuff, like you know, everybody has their own what you call definition of weird and certain stuff like that. And I feel like, you know, it is what it is. I think that's definitely weird and certain stuff like that, but someone says I might not have a personality. I do have personality and stuff like that, but I'm really... But yeah, man, I feel like a lot of stuff is just not your responsibility. Or you shouldn't have to really explain certain stuff or certain stuff why it's just, you know, bad at certain stuff. Like college campus, you know, everybody's an adult, but at the same time, they already know. Schools and stuff already know there's issues and stuff that's going on at the campus. And like I said, it could be very popular people and stuff like that doing some weird stuff. Or, like I'm saying, I understand 100% what consent and stuff is. Consent is just not what you call someone, you know, like, you know, you could, like, if someone says that you can, what you call it, that you, like, two people say they want to do something, do activity, basically. I was keeping it clean, because I know I do have children and stuff watching me. But they only said for one particular act. You can't go and then try to do something else. Like, that's just what you call it. Or, let's say, for instance, that a female says, what you call it, midway during an act or something like that, or something like that, that if she's not feeling it and she wants you to stop, you have to stop. Anything after that, you know, it's not until you're done. You should be done when she says she's done. That's just the case in point. A lot of people don't get that. And the crazy thing about schools too is that certain stuff like school and stuff, it was already accessible for disease and certain stuff like that. STDs, they tested people for STDs and certain stuff like that. You know, I'm telling you, bro, there is plenty of people out here with all sorts of types of STDs, STIs. Some of that stuff never goes away. It just never goes away. People still have that stuff in their system, like syphilis or something like that. It can be like treated or something like that, but it never 100% goes away. That's just nasty. But like me, I'm the type of person, I never been the truth. I'm just on what you call it. I'm me. Like, you know, I'm not having 2 foot in the door, like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. Like I'm saying this stuff, you know, I'm not doing it. That right there is just, you know, it's hypocrisy at its finest. You know, that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I just disagree with on a daily basis about, you know, what is an experience with college students and certain stuff like that. Everybody has their own experience with college and certain stuff like that. I'm not denying that. You know, parties, do I think parties are bad? No. I just think that the conduct that happens at these parties and certain stuff, when you know the element or who's been at some of this stuff, you know, it makes, I wouldn't say a mockery out of certain stuff, but it's not right in a sense, because at the same time, you know, there's been plenty of stuff that happen, like, you know, a female gets drunk or something like that. The next thing, she's in someone's bed or something like that. with their undergarments or something, you know, like, you know, just wild stuff with their undergarments and stuff down. That's just wild. Or she's blackout drunk, someone takes advantage of a female. That's rape and that's weird. That's just weird, bro. It's not consent, and it's really not. Everybody defines weird or something, but you know, I don't like me. I never bend the truth or try to make people think otherwise or try to sway stuff. Because a lot of people, in a sense, a lot of people try to twist stuff. I'm not one of the type of people that twist stuff and certain stuff like that. Or try to proselytize people. I'm not in the business of that. I'm just not in the business of that. The one thing that I think is pretty bad on the day-to-day basis and certain stuff like that, that people don't think about, it's like, yeah, schools and stuff are really bad. Big name universities and stuff are bad because they, like, everything's an illusion. People let you see what they want you to see, and that's the truth. People will do that. People allow you to see what they want you to see and nothing else. Like, and what I mean by that, schools and certain stuff have gotten over on people time and time again. In terms of fees and certain stuff like that, you know, or these textbooks. Textbooks for me are not that bad because my school has this contract. I think it's lucrative for both the school and certain stuff like that to go in a contract with one of these publishing groups or whatever. It's called Cengage. So yeah, you know, we do Cengage. The thing is, like, I check the full year stuff's like $179.99. With taxes, it's probably like $210 or something like that. But the schools, other schools and stuff like that, you have to pay $300 for the book, but then you have to pay money for an access code. You know, I don't really know about that. That made me not want to even be in school at that point. Because at the same time, you know, you pay to be in school. And then I know people talking about student fees. There's a lot of stuff that don't even cover student fees. You're not gonna get your money back. A lot of stuff to me, man, I question a lot of stuff, and I think people don't like that. People think that I'm catching on or certain stuff like that. To me, I really don't care. Like, at a certain point, because if something needs to be said, I want to say it in a respectful manner. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, in token, I just don't understand why, you know, on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis, you're having the same type of issues with something. And instead of addressing something, we're just going to go and act like sweep stuff under the rug and get to a point where it's like certain stuff is unmanageable. Like, and what I mean by unmanageable is exactly what I mean unmanageable. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff. Like, people talk about dorms or student health centers and certain stuff like that. Student health centers stuff has been bad for a while. And the premise I'm putting that out there is because, like, what you call it, a student health center is supposed to be exactly that. The thing about schools and certain stuff, especially my school, they're understaffed. They only have probably a max of like 4 nurses and stuff like that. And our head nurse is a man. And men and stuff can be nurses. I don't want people to get that wrong, certain stuff like that. A lot of people, they be thinking that a nurse is limited to a woman. I disagree with that. That's very kind of, in a sense, a lot of stuff like that. People start saying certain stuff like that. It's kind of homophobic or certain stuff like that. It's not, to me, it don't really make that much sense, but that's the point. But a lot of people show their ignorance in more ways than one, and I feel like a lot of people, in a sense, you could never even say nothing, but you can see where other people's mind and stuff is at about a particular thing. And I feel like a lot of stuff, once you get down to a point where you start realizing and addressing stuff in a way God damn. Yo, I shot this man, bro. It's probably one of my worst games, but bro, I mean, a lot of stuff really, in my honest opinion, on your day-to-day stuff. But let me go back to dating people, especially. Someone probably says I have my reservation stuff about me. I do. I mean, I mean well. And I really do. On my day-to-day stuff, like, I really mean well. I'm a nice guy. I don't have any, like, ulterior motives and certain stuff like that. I'm not one of those guys. I know a whole lot of females who talking about all guys want one thing. You know, that's a very narrow assessment of certain stuff. Or, and another thing I really don't like is when people be broadcasting their relationship publicly or something like that to a certain extent, and it's like they're always bashing something or calling men trash. You know, what you're doing is trash. You're attracting what you're attracted to is trash. So, in a sense, or toxic behavior. That's just my personal opinion. Like, you know, I done seen people just, you know, really be talking real crazy on the internet about something like, you know, even exposing certain stuff like that. You know, you can't be exposing, you know, private pics or something or private information about people. That's just weird, wrong, and nasty. Like, if you think about it, and spiteful at that. That's just weird. Bro, there's just a whole lot of stuff that even on a day-to-day basis, you can really see where people is really thinking and where people's head is at. Because if we're being honest, a lot of people probably pass it off like, oh, this is just the normal stuff. Like, a lot of stuff just not normal. We just call stuff for what it is. Like, I know someone probably say, for instance, I'm weird because I have my reservations about me or something like that. I don't think that's weird. That's just me being me, in a sense. Because, like, you know, I'm not trying to go. Like, if I'm at a particular place or something like that, I'm not trying to talk to somebody. Like, for instance, if I'm like at a movie theater or something like that, and I'm sitting in a long line and someone's trying to talking about, are you gonna see new Batman film? I mean, they talking to me. Obviously, I might talk to them back, but otherwise, I'm not trying to initiate a conversation with somebody I don't know. That's just you know, I mean, that's just me. I got my reservation about me and certain stuff like that. Like, you know, another thing too, a lot of people and stuff be going to bars and certain stuff like that to try to meet people. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, especially before coronavirus, okay, sure, I could see it. But, you know, a lot of stuff should not be even open, or people should even be open to even try to go to there. Alcohol and stuff, that it does go bad. Then at the same time, an alcohol license and stuff like that for a restaurant and stuff like that, it could cost $40,000. I don't think people know that. They have to apply to it, and there's so many restrictions and certain stuff like that for that. And for what it's worth, I mean, it's like, you know, that's pretty steep. And alcohol and stuff, it does go bad. Because alcohol is nothing but fermented sugars. Bread, yeast, not really bread, but yeast mainly. Beer and stuff can be made out of sourdough. I don't think people know that. But beer is just nasty. It just depends. It just depends. Cider is not that bad, but I'm not really much of a drinker anyway. But besides the point. Yeah, cider and certain stuff is not to be, it's like, alcohol is okay in moderation, I'll put it at that. But people getting blacked out drunk and certain stuff like that, going to parties. Another thing is fear of missing out, you know. There's been, like, you know, I feel a lot of stuff is weird. People just not gonna call it weird or say what stuff goes on. Like, you know, exposing yourself at a party or something, like someone gives somebody a twerking and they just, you know, pull the privates and stuff out. That's weird, and that's rapey. That's unacceptable. That's exactly why I don't go to parties. You know, somebody might say, oh, you just hating. No, I'm not hating. I just have standards and certain stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm not gonna sit up here, you know, say one thing and be living another. That's just me. A lot of people be doing that though. A lot of people really be doing that though. And it's like, okay, I feel like people are getting groomed for certain stuff like that. Or groomed, like, you know, I've never been the type of person to want people up under me, following me, or, you know, to be praised or something like that. I gotta be pumped up. I'm not one of those people. I'm just not. I wouldn't want people following me in the first place to begin with. Like, up under me, you know, always, you know, listen to me or something like that, or not question certain stuff. That's just a little bit wrong. It's a little bit foul, in my honest opinion. Like, there's people and stuff hosting events and certain stuff like that. Right now, as we speaking, right now. And the logical thing with me, if I'm doing something wrong, I'm hoping somebody be like, hey, this isn't right or something like that. But a lot of the time, you got people just be going along with stuff, just to be going along with stuff. And I mean, for what it's worth, in my honest opinion, that right there is kind of problematic. And what I mean by that, why is it problematic? It's because it's really showing you, you know, people don't have a backbone. You know, certain stuff, in a sense, to people, you know, it falls one way, not the other. And I feel like that's where you get a lot of stuff, the issues or problem arise from. It's because what people are making certain stuff into is just one big thing that it should not get to a point where, you know, certain stuff gets out of hand to the way it gets out of hand. Like, let's say what, I know, for instance, like, someone was talking about, look, I got a prime example of something real quick. Like, someone had a thing where they start like a company, a travel company. This person did not have any money. I'm not being funny by saying that. This person had no money. You know, I never talk bad about people's business or something like that, but I'm being transparent. This person had no money for a trip. But the way they was getting these trips and stuff before all this coronavirus stuff happened was that, what you call it? They would have a particular thing where, yeah, they try to act like they had a travel group, and they did. They'll be collecting money, talking about this will be covered. They will be making meals and certain stuff like that. They were making meals. They were making meals and certain stuff like that. But they kept on trying to put the excursions in. They was collecting all this money and certain stuff like that. But then the people actually start complaining that they didn't get their stuff. They got most of everything, but the stuff they was actually saying and promoting never even got, it never turned up anything, basically. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's say it's $600 to go to like Cozumel, Mexico, something like that, or Cancun. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna go to excursion. We're gonna stay in a what you call it? One of them nice homes, villas or something like that. And the villas and stuff are not really that expensive. You can live pretty good and certain stuff like that. I would say about $1,000. It just depends on the place where you live at. The Caribbean and stuff is pretty good. You can live like a king for $1,000 a month. And then another thing too, that certain stuff, a lot of countries and stuff have a lot of programs. Like Panama has a thing, an expat program where they're paying you a stipend for staying there. But people gotta apply for it, but you have to be a certain age. A lot of people don't know that. I be researching stuff, man. Trust me. When I tell you I be researching stuff, I be researching stuff. But then again, a lot of stuff you cannot take at face value. Someone talked to me about that. Just mention it, but at the same time, you have to go and do your research. There's a lot of stuff people can try to tell you may not be the actual reality of a lot of stuff. And that's why I feel like, in a sense, you know, you really have to be checking certain stuff. And it's not that I don't think this person knows what they're talking about. It's just the fact that, you know, if you just listen on a day-to-day basis, I'm not saying this person would lie or anything like that, but I'm just saying a lot of people, they just won't go and actually, you know, say something to a certain extent. Or tell you more. You just have to go out there and do or research what you know is the actual information. Because sooner or later, you know, a lot of stuff may be looking bad. And then I know a whole lot of other stuff too. People talking about relationships and certain stuff like that. I feel like certain people are needy. That's not really my business about a relationship, but or they're trying to get back at their ex or something like that, or being out of a relationship. Like someone could be in 3 relationships in 2 years. I understand stuff could be happening, you know, but that's just a little bit sloppy. Once certain stuff or a relationship ends in a train wreck, that can happen with anything. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes there has to be self-improvement or something like that. Or somebody wants to trash a girlfriend or trash whatever about, about them, but what are you doing? That's the ultimate red flag. Like, what are you doing though? No. And that's honesty. You can say this and that and the third, but what are you actually out here doing to raise these concerns in the first place? See, there's no halfway or if or and or buts with me. Like, I just be straight to the point. A lot of people don't like that. And I'm being honest, a lot of people really don't like that. Because if you really think about it, on the average, a lot of people just be saying stuff, and then again, like I'm saying, it doesn't make that much sense. But back to what I'm saying about the person's business, too, with stuff going to Mexico. The person was stacking their money and certain stuff like that. People were getting some of the excursions, the breakfast and stuff. They made it seem like, they was getting breakfast, like they was going to have like a maid or somebody come in there, cook food. The person was cooking the food. But at the same time, the excursions and stuff they promised, they oversold and under-delivered on some of the stuff that they said was included in the package. And, I feel like, you can't really be trusting what people be saying, because a lot of stuff, if, like, I feel like as certain stuff, expands, people's work gets sloppier and sloppier, honestly speaking. It gets sloppier and sloppier. Like, someone asked me would I ever consider working at an accounting firm. No, absolutely not. Some people, they might hit the mark on accounting or something like that. They feel like that's like their life calling. That's cool. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be working, 52 to 70 hours a week, in a cubicle, or somebody's out there, your boss and stuff is out there on the golf course. You're doing his work or something like that. You get into the politics of that. They're settling some type of deal or something like that where they're going to try to consolidate into some type of conglomerate or something like that, or some type of financial back service or something like that. I ain't got time for that, bro. Some people might hit their mark, and I'm happy for them, but certain stuff's just not going to really fly. It's just not going to fly. And then besides, a lot of people don't know that accountants and certain stuff like that, they have to have a 97% rate of actual accuracy. And then if money's lost, they have to go back and find it. They have to find that money and balance the books. Yeah, but me, I've never been the type of person to bend the truth under any circumstances about certain stuff, bro. Because to me, at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that people want you to see. That's good without actually questioning the bad. And I especially know something too, in terms of this thing. I met somebody with the hospitality group or something like that. They manage, it's a pretty popular thing and certain stuff like that, but the one thing, the advice that he really did say, he got promoted to a thing. And then again, I think that's really a big problem with, corporate stuff, the politics and certain stuff. Like, people not really going to say anything. The cronyism, nepotism and certain stuff like that. This guy pretty much, he may have some background or something else, but he had no idea what he was doing. He had somebody who previously had the position. He went to the person in the management. He said, I have no idea what he's doing. He had to plan this big thing. And it was for a professional sports group. They had the person come and speak to us at, my school. He said he had no idea what he was doing. Absolutely no idea what he was doing. No idea. They still gave him the task of planning a big thing for, for this event. A golf course, like a fundraiser and certain stuff like that. You know, fundraisers and stuff like people talking about nonprofits. Nonprofits can make money, but that's with a certain threshold. You know, the prices for the actually start a nonprofit is a long time, and you have to have a lot of stuff. See, a lot of people don't think I know a lot of stuff too. That's another problem I think that I got with people. People think I don't know what I be talking about. Like if someone calling themselves a nonprofit or their organization, well, let me ask you, what's your EIN? Let me ask you what your EIN is. Now, so I could be able to look you up on the IRS website. Where your articles and corporation, because trust me, there's a whole lot of people out here talking about they're doing nonprofit work. But where's your EIN number? Where is that? I question stuff for what it is, though. But yeah, there's just some stuff, bro. There's no halfway if and or buts with me. I think certain stuff is. See if we can win this. But yeah, I know. And another thing, people talk about dating, certain stuff like that. I would never treat a female like crap or anything like that. If a female wants something like a nice gift or something like that, I'll probably get it. And not to have any ulterior motives or anything like that, I'll probably get it. Like, I mean dead serious. Like, no strings attached or anything like that. Because I don't like when people try to say that women and stuff are gold diggers and certain stuff like that. You gotta know who you're dealing with, certain stuff like that. Or people are gold, just what they're not doing anything. Just that and the third. Yeah, I don't think women are what's called gold diggers or anything like that, or, that's a very narrow statement about certain stuff. That's a very narrow assessment, and I feel like once someone says that, you kind of have to challenge that. That's just my personal belief. Or someone probably says, I'm just questioning stuff too much, or I'm just doing too much, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing what time is it? 10:13. I probably got time for one more. But yeah, I'm definitely the type person not to bend the truth for anything, for anybody or anything, or cap. I just think a lot of stuff, if we had to go and sit down and break stuff down for what certain stuff is or something like that, or for instance, I know females think that, guys or certain stuff, or, you know, trying to use him for a booty call or something like that. That's just not me. I'm gonna be honest, like that's just not me. That is most definitely not me. Or certain stuff, because that's just a narrow assessment. Like, I can see how certain stuff shapes or bend people based off their experiences and certain stuff like that, but I'm not going to say something as you are who you attract or what you allow yourself to do. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that even in a sense, you know, you just, I don't know. A lot of stuff that just does not, it's not making any sense on a level of what, you know, other people try to say or make stuff at, or an assessment. You know, if a girl says something like, you know, you don't care or something about her or something like that, that's not true. That's just not true. Or you can go cold on her or something like that. I'm not going to go cold or anything like that, but it's just, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to try to do anything. Me, relationship works two ways. And the way I feel like it has to go 50-50. I'm not going to say like something that, you know, other people do is right or wrong or either or certain stuff like that. Because sometimes I can feel like it could be more so of you. It's not maybe what you did, it's the way how you did it. You know, I'm not ever going to try to sit up here and explain, you know, or try to make excuses of why something is justifiable or unjustifiable. You know, I'm going to own up or something like that. Or tell my friends what is wrong or something like that. You know, I'm not going to bend the truth or perform my stuff because, oh, this is my dog. But a lot of people be doing that, though. A lot of people be doing that. You'd be surprised, though. There be too many people out here doing certain stuff like, oh, man. She done sit up here and done this or something like that. Oh, she trifling or something like that. Nah, I don't really think it's me. It's both people. If you don't have the maturity level, there's people out here dating people with the emotional maturity of a doggone 13-year-old. I'm a pretty fair person, bro. I don't try to bend certain stuff. Or just certain stuff with me. I just seen a lot of stuff you really think about. It really has more so to deal with what other people are thinking. And certain times you have to really understand that certain stuff is not your responsibility to deal with people's ignorance or certain stuff or what like their projections based off on you. And it has nothing to do with like, you know, females or certain stuff like that. It just has to do with people in general, like just certain stuff. Like, you know, people talking about, oh, you know, you too smart or you too good for certain stuff. Like, no, that's what you thought. Just because I choose not to do something stupid, which can, you know, hinder, you know, certain stuff, like my ability to, I would say, like, for instance, you know, I'll probably say, like, for instance, I know someone's talking about, you know, Four Locos or something like that, or going to an after party or something like that. They, you know, I'm not a person, I'm pretty sure you know me by now. I'm not the type of person that I go to stuff because I keep talking about it. And this, I don't see the hype in a lot of stuff. If you know me personally, like, you know I like my stuff like underground, certain stuff like that. Music, you know, art, certain stuff like that. Because I feel like a lot of stuff, I have appreciation for stuff that's just underground or just a best kept secret that nobody knows about. That's just me in general, like certain stuff like that. I like some mainstream stuff, but I'm not really with all the other stuff that people be doing. But that's besides the point. I know a lot of stuff that people out here doing, just in the grand scheme of things, it's not really making any sense. Like, you know, I know females talking about dating for marriage. You know, I do believe that. I really do. But somewhere down the line, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that can just happen. You know, I'm not saying that the female's expectations are realistic. I do believe dating for marriage and stuff like that. But I gotta understand, in a sense, and certain stuff. I would never, do anything bad to a female or anything to break her heart or do. Well, I mean anything that's just foul or certain stuff like that. Never do anything like that. But there's a whole lot of stuff too. It doesn't make sense. I'm not saying that whole thing is unattainable, because I really do believe in dating for marriage and certain stuff like that. But at the same time, there's just a whole lot of stuff that it just happens. There's a lot of stuff that just happens. I'm not making fun of anybody or anything like that. So there's plenty of females and stuff that say stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I could see why certain stuff, because I could see that or something like that. And I feel like this is a narrow assessment. That's like too broad to say at the same time. That's like me saying that all females want thugs or something like that. They don't want to get smart. They actually want to do right. That's a very narrow assessment. That's a very narrow assessment you making or categorizing one entire group. It's just too broad. That's a pretty bold statement, but I can see why somebody could say that based off their experiences. But what are my thoughts on dating in like 2020 or certain stuff like that? Like if I date a girl or something like that, I'm not gonna do her wrong or do anything, certain stuff like that. I'm just not. But at the same time, and token or something like that, I would never do a female wrong, and I'll treat her right, certain stuff like that. Get her gifts, certain stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff too that I feel like people just need to just stop saying they're basing their relationship or their goals off what they see other people do. There's certain stuff, even celebrities and certain stuff like that, they ain't got themselves together. To be honest, nobody in this world has themselves together. That's just life. Nobody's perfect. People got skeletons and stuff in their closet. They don't want nobody to know. At the same time, token, it's just a whole lot more. There's a lot more moving parts to certain stuff that I feel like a lot of people don't really get. There's a lot of stuff just going on, just in general, in a grand scheme or a grand spectrum of things people just not really talking about. For what it's worth, how long I think that can last, I really don't know. Because in order for me to say that, practically means that, a lot of stuff is going to be a whole lot better than what it was before. Like, in terms of my school and stuff like that, you're supposed to have temperature checks and stuff. Everything like a machine, they only have that in like 2 out of certain buildings. I think like 2 out of the 5 buildings they have it. That's pretty stupid. And I feel like one other problem I think I got with certain stuff, like, it's just a whole lot of stuff like projection. I feel like that's what I got an issue with. I don't have a narrow assessment about females and certain stuff like that. She like a lot of stuff that people say that are deal breakers or in a relationship. It depends on person to person. Somebody might get tired of someone particularly doing something. I feel like certain stuff is either perfect timing for something or just a bad thing just to happen. Sometimes it might be more feasible for somebody to break up with somebody. And then, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm just chilling. Right now, I'm just chilling. I don't think that females and stuff are bad or certain stuff like that. Or people talking about saving yourself for marriage. To a certain degree, I believe I'm amazing, stuff like that. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people telling you that type of stuff. I mean, didn't even follow that themselves. It's kind of hypocritical, and I feel like it doesn't make you better or less of a person. At the same time, what I do think it's just in a grand scheme of things, I can understand why they tell you for a specific reason. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of stuff, there's no level of transparency at all. It's just more so, it's just going through the motions. It really doesn't matter whatever they say, if they believe it or not. It's just the point they're trying to convey it to you, to try to make it make sense in a way. And I feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of stuff get lost in translation, or it loses meaning over time when you've been hearing the same repetitive. A lot of stuff, especially with school, to me, it's just programming. You're programmed to believe in a system that's broken, and then has allowed people to work on limited resources and stuff like that. Every time you think about the school budget, these crooked board of commissioners or county commissioners and stuff like that taking money. Some of these people got embezzlement charges. Nobody's bringing that up, or certain stuff like that. Or there's been some type of shady thing where they're getting good with the mayor or something like that, or various local municipality officials and certain stuff like that, and they get backed. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I question stuff for what it is. A lot of stuff, in a way, it's identity politics, man. It's just identity politics. People choose what they see, basically, off of what they identify with. It doesn't matter. A lot of people can't produce anything tangible, especially when it comes to the politics. You really don't see it. You really don't see it at all. Nothing they do is really tangible. You can't see it. Can't see it. They may say it on paper. Ask them to produce anything tangible. They can't. Oh, we created 15,000 jobs in the RTP area. Well, all them jobs are gone, big brother. Or the conditions is worse. Let me explain something too. For instance, people are talking about working these jobs. I want to say the jobs, factory jobs and stuff are crappy. They don't even really have air conditioning and stuff like that. I've been in a server room for Cisco before. That's when I was on a field trip about 6 years ago. They had stuff in there. They had an IT person and stuff like that. I remember the smallest computer that you can have in your pocket right now is a Raspberry Pi. You can buy, I think it's $40. It's you literally fit it in your pocket. It's called Raspberry Pi. You can buy one. That's the thing that I remember most about that thing. But yeah, with the factories and stuff like that. The factories and stuff on a day, it could be 100 degrees inside the place with the conditions and stuff, no air conditioning or lackluster type of stuff. It can get up to 115 to 120 degrees up in the building. And you know, there's definitely the thing about it. Certain companies and stuff, they don't want people saying anything or being hush hush about the conditions and certain stuff like that. When certain stuff is obviously a clear violation of OSHA violations, you know, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, if someone's talking about dating, what are my thoughts on dating? I mean, yeah, I definitely believe in dating for marriage or whatever. Like, I would never do a female or anything grimy, dirty, or anything like that. I like to treat a female with the uttermost respect and certain stuff like that. If she wanted something, I wouldn't do anything for ulterior motives or anything like that, or I'm plotting or something like that. You know, I just keep it simple. You know, it is what it is. Or a female feel like I'd be just doing grimy stuff. I don't do grimy stuff. I really don't. Like, I would treat a female like good, like really good. What? I hope y'all guys enjoyed the stream, bro. I'm out. Peace.